The unemployment rate dropping down another 10th. This is very fascinating. 4.3 expected, 4.2. 4.2 will be the lowest rate since June of 25, 1 year. 1 year.
So there you have a CNBC report on some jobs numbers that came out. I know everybody's looking at the economy and they're all saying, okay, what's next? How's it going? Where's the affordability? How are gas prices? Folks, gas prices on the 4th of July weekend have come down significantly. There are a lot of good things cooking, and we know there's still some road ahead to go. Let's get to the White House to talk to them about their reaction to today's June jobs report numbers. Kush Desai, exciting to have you back with us, Deputy White House Press Secretary. Thanks for the time this afternoon. It's good to have you back.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course. So your reaction, what are the highlights that the White House is looking at this jobs report numbers, their reaction to the information that came out today?
Absolutely. I think today's jobs report reinforces that the employment market remains very solid. We saw pretty solid private sector-led growth. We saw unemployment tick down a little, but digging a little deeper, we actually saw manufacturing jobs actually grow again for the second month in a row. We saw very solid factory construction jobs, meaning more manufacturing jobs are in the pipeline once these factories are built and online and pumping things out. And so we're feeling very good. We're seeing the results of the president's economic agenda pay dividends here.
Kush Desai speaking with us, Deputy White House Press Secretary. Kush, one thing that I can't get over, and I know this is a long-term thing, and in politics, nobody wants to talk about long-term. They want to talk about, what have you done for me lately? And then 5 minutes later, how about now? I want to talk about the Trump administration's interest in investing in America, in playing the long game here, because I remember covering Biden jobs reports, lots of jobs created. Government jobs, who's paying for those? What's the difference in the former administration's philosophy towards job creation and the long-term goals of the Trump administration's focus?
That's exactly right. I think the Biden administration they kind of juked the numbers by adding tons and tons of government jobs, these kind of make work government jobs to pad up those numbers. And the Trump administration, President Trump is doing the exact opposite, where we're focused on letting the private sector take over, unleash private businesses, big and small, to invest, to grow, to hire people, and to grow the economy sort of organically in a very sustainable way that doesn't rely on taxing and spending people. In fact, federal employment is actually at its lowest since the 1960s, which is unimaginable if you think about it. The federal government's not as big as it was since the 1960s. And so the president, like I said, is focused on unleashing the private sector to do what America does best. And the business of America is business.
And it's not just a production of jobs that are, factory jobs, private business jobs taking place here. There's also a product that comes out of that. And onshoring a lot of those products or, different types of things that, especially during COVID, we realized, gosh, we can't get these unless they come off of a boat that's sitting somewhere backlogged in the ocean or in a dock somewhere. Bringing a lot of that industry back to the United States, what is the main purpose of the Trump administration's focus on onshoring this type of production? Of course, the jobs, that's great, but what about the products?
I think you got it. You hit the nail on the head there. I mean, obviously, look, we want more jobs. We want more solid manufacturing jobs. But the reality is that manufacturing is key to our national economic security. During the Biden administration, we saw what happens when we're reliant on foreign countries for the chips, semiconductors. We saw car prices. Used cars were actually more expensive than new cars because new cars couldn't get off the lot because they didn't have the semiconductor chips they needed because they're stuck overseas. During COVID, we had shortages of pharmaceuticals and other life-saving medical equipment. That's just something that's just not that's an egregious risk to our national economic security. And so when you look at what the Trump administration has done on these critical sectors, whether it be steel and aluminum, which is so critical for our military and our industrial base, when you look at pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, cutting edge technologies like that, we are very focused on getting that manufacturing reshored back to the United States so that, again, in a time of crisis, we're not waiting on China or Korea or another country to get us what we need. We have it right here. We have the supply chains right here in the United States.
Yeah, and to become an exporter of some of the things that we have here, too, of course, with the president's efforts in Iran, recalibrating the entire global oil trade situation, the way that the United States has taken an upper hand in the exports. Talk to me about the value, the long-term value of, obviously we want peace. Obviously, we want this conflict to end, but not at lesser circumstances than initially intended. What has happened with the oil industry and America's role in being the upper hand in it?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is such a stunning, when you go back 20 years ago when America was a net importer of oil and gas, and look at now, where we are the largest producer of oil and gas in the world. We're one of the largest exporters of oil and gas in the world. And especially with what's happened in the Middle East, the sort of the epicenter of the global energy industry has shifted from the Middle East to the Western Hemisphere, to here in the United States, to our new partners in Venezuela. It's increasingly American energy that's fueling not just American businesses and American factories and American homes, but the homes and businesses of the whole world. And so we're in a very powerful position here. And again, it's not just about money and creating jobs here at home, but we are not relying on any foreign country for our oil and gas. We are self-sufficient in oil and gas. We're using our God-given resources to power our country. And so the president's energy abundance agenda, again, has not just created jobs and prosperity for Americans, but it's made us safer in the long term.
We're speaking with Deputy White House Press Secretary Kush Desai. The interesting component, I think, in watching all of this happen, and the wheeling and dealing and the art of the deal, of course, with President Trump, is the partners that are required to achieve the things that this administration is attempting to achieve. I've seen the Biden administration, the Obama administration. The partners are usually other people in government. How do we get this done? Which means that the silent partner, the funder of it, the taxpayer sitting here in the Midwest going, what are we paying for now? Well, you see the president going into the private sector over and over and over again with the oil industries, with the healthcare industries, with manufacturing, auto workers, over and over and over again. Energy. He goes to the private sector and somehow or another is able to get a better deal done for the American people. That, to me, is the most stark contrast between what one side of the aisle has to offer the taxpayer and the voter and what the other one does. If you want socialist, big government, if you want to see all of the things provided to you that they determine that you need, vote for the socialists. If you want this innovation that comes from the bottom up, from the heart of the country, from around the country, the Trump administration seems to value private partnership because it's really partnership with the American people.
That's exactly right. I think that this president has been very clear that he's willing to leverage the power and might of the American economy to deliver for the American people. We saw this with the trade deals. We saw, the economists and experts spent months talking about how president's tariffs would ruin the economy and cause another Great Depression, and the exact opposites happened. We've secured over 20 trade deals with some of our most important trading partners on terms that finally benefit America and American workers and American industries. We see that in pharmaceuticals with these most favored nation drug pricing deals, where President Trump said, look, American patients are not going to continue paying egregiously, getting ripped off by the drug makers so that the rest of the world can pay subsidized rates for prescription drugs. We're going to level the playing field. That's exactly what the president has done to deliver economic relief for American patients. And so time and time again, I think this president, he literally wrote the book, The Art of the Deal. And I think he's proven that every single day on the job, where he's cutting one good deal for the American people after another.
Kush, I have 4 kids myself, 16, almost 14, 10, and 5. They all have Trump accounts. And I have become a little bit obsessed with the idea of the Trump accounts. I have gone on Grok and showed I didn't show the 5-year-old. She would have been interested. But I showed my 10 and almost 14 and 16-year-old, here's what compound interest looks like. Because I'm talking to them, their savings account got birthday money in it, Christmas money in it. I'm saying, let's take some of the money out of there and put it into the Trump account right now. And here's what it'll look like. And their jaws are dropping right now because of the numbers that they're seeing in real time. Talk to me about the future of Trump accounts. And for anybody who's out there listening to us right now, whose kids or grandkids have not signed up at trumpaccounts.gov yet, talk to me about what this looks like and what the vision is for the long term.
This is generational change. Thanks to the president's leadership, American children are now going to be able to grow wealth tax-free, to be able to start off adult life with a head start. And it's not just, a tax benefit. When you look at the president's call to action to philanthropists and businesses across our country, you've seen billionaires from Michael Dell to Ray Dalio to major corporations who are doing their part to donate to the Trump accounts of working class children. And so this is, I think, we were talking earlier about the long term and the short term, but I think the benefits of this are really going to be visible in 20 years and 30 years and 40 years and 50 years, when you have each generation of Americans be better off than the generation before, which is the American dream, obviously. And And more importantly, I mean, if you talk about the growing tide of socialism and communism in the United States, what Trump accounts is doing is giving the next generation of Americans a direct stake in capitalism to own a part of the pie so that they have a stake in private enterprise. So they know that, look, when big business thrives, it's not just some rich fat cat somewhere getting money. It's people like you and me who have savings, who have retirement funds, who have Trump accounts, who are directly benefiting because our money is growing and we're becoming better off. And so this is a generational change that's not just, it's more than just dollars and cents. I think this is going to create a fundamental cultural shift where young people are going to think about saving more, think about building wealth, think about their finances in such a new way. And again, like I said, just have a much more real stake in the future of our country, in the future of capitalism.
Yeah, it's an incredible thing to witness. And I think that it's the Band-Aid into the future that our children, that I feel like being a millennial myself, that I've gone through a few things as I've come to a formative age, and I'm sure every generation has the same thing. But to start my children out with this opportunity, it's really incredible. Kush, before we let you go, we're asking a YouTube poll question today. A little bit unfair to ask you as you were representing the White House, but I'm going to ask it to you anyway. I recall, I think Carolyn Levitt had a press room full of children, and one of the kids asked, "Who's your favorite president?" Our question today is, who is the best American ever? And we've got 4 people on our show that each pick somebody. We have George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Billy Graham, and Donald Trump. I won't make you pick from those 4, but what's your reaction to the best American ever?
That's a tricky question, but I will say I think all the men you listed have done so much for. I mean, George Washington is responsible for creating our country, for giving birth to our country, and President Lincoln and Billy Graham have done so much to enrich our country. And I think that's what President Trump wants to do, is to enrich our country and leave our country, so that in 250 years, when Americans are celebrating our 500th birthday, our country will be bigger and better than even we can ever dream of it right now.
Yeah, 100%. We said George Washington built the country. Lincoln saved it. Billy Graham might have helped save it as well, but we think Donald Trump is saving it once again. And so we're excited to celebrate the semi-quincentennial. Have you gone to take in the state fair, the National State Fair? Have you seen anything there? What can you tell us?
I will say it's quite a spectacle to see all of our kind of the best of what so many of our states and the diversity of our country represented there, with each state kind of representing its culture or what it has to offer. And so I think it's really a representation of everything our country has to offer on our 250th birthday.
Well, we're excited to see the fireworks show this weekend. We're hearing it's going to be a big one. Thank you for the time today, Kush Desai. It's always great to speak with the White House and with you. We hope you have a wonderful Independence Day weekend.
Thanks, you as well.
Take care. Bye-bye. Kush Desai, the Deputy White House Press Secretary, here on the Annie Frey Show on X at Kush Desai 47. A good follow. I encourage you to find him on X.